We chose the topic global warming. This is to interest of us because we are concerned with the future of the world and our environment, and the effects of global warming such as flooding, natural disasters, property destruction, and extinction of species. There are two major controversies that I want to bring up today with global warming. Number one is humans do not cause global warming. Two, global conglomerates do not believe that global warming is real. They think it's a hoax. Temperatures on Earth have increased approximately 1.4 degrees Fahrenheit since the early 20th century.
Scientists know that certain gases trap heat and act like a blanket to warm the planet. One of the most important is carbon dioxide, CO2, which we release into the atmosphere when we burn fossil fuels. Oil, coal, and natural gas to generate electricity, power vehicles, and heat our homes. Over the past 130 years, the global average temperature has increased by 1.5 degrees Fahrenheit, with more than half of that increase occurring over only the past 35 years. The pattern is unmistakable. The warmest 12 years on record have all occurred since 1998, and the past 38 years have been warmer than the 20th century average.
Some scientists argue that human-generated greenhouse gas emissions are too small to change the Earth's climate, and that the planet can absorb these increases. These scientists believe that warming over the 20th century resulted primarily from natural processes such as fluctuations in sun's heat and ocean currents. The theory of humans causing global climate changes is based on questionable precautions, incorrect climate models, and misleading science. Detailed measurements of carbon dioxide CO2 levels have been taken continuously for more than 50 years. The data shows that the CO2 levels have steadily increased every year. Today they are 25% higher than in 1957.
Where is this heading? Countries are trying to use alternative sources of power, which includes hydroelectric sources, solar energy, and wind power. The problem with these options is that they tend to be much more expensive and much less effective in producing electrical output. Solar energy panels require a massive amount of space and tend to use all day to charge while only producing a fraction amount of power that electricity produced by coal can. Electricity produced by coal is much cheaper than the options and much more accessible to the public. Global warming has serious implications towards our health, environment, and economy. Dangerous heat waves are increasing in severity and frequency due to the planet's global temperature increasing. Extreme storms are on the rise in most coastal and tropical areas. More severe droughts are occurring in more arid climates. Collectively, these effects pose a threat to the entire planet, including you, your community, and your family.
Scientists can conclusively identify that human activity is responsible for the observed increase in CO2, which in turn causes global warming. How can they do this? The carbon dioxide emitted by burning coal, natural gas, and oil has a unique chemical fingerprint, and the additional CO2 in the atmosphere bears that signature. Life on Earth depends on energy coming from the sun. About half the light reaching Earth's atmosphere passes through the air and cloud to the surface, where it is absorbed and then radiated upward into the form of infrared heat. About 90% of this heat is then absorbed by the greenhouse gases and radiated back towards the surface, which is warmed to a life-supporting average of 59 degrees Fahrenheit.
One example of global warming affecting everyday lives is a little girl leaving her place of residence in present-day Beijing. Her parents make her wear a clinical mask almost every day to prevent her from getting sick because of the heavily polluted air. Flights get canceled on a regular basis from leaving Beijing because it is so difficult for the pilots to see. Areas heavily polluted with smog and CO2 tend to be affected by acid rain, which could also affect the different types of infrastructure within society. The general public needs to imagine this scenario everywhere on the planet. Smog is a product of global warming, which affects humans and nature at an astounding rate. Another example is for the first time in history, visitors to the North Pole can see something they have never seen before: water. One way the government is trying to reduce greenhouse gas emissions is by taxing gas and crude oil. The government is instituting efficiency regulations for light bulbs that effectively ban the sale of standard incandescent lights, and by controlling population levels, spending more money on mass transit, and by injecting pollutants into the atmosphere, such as sulfur dioxide, to shade the earth from the sun. Whether you believe in global warming or not, the fact is that the 11 hottest years recorded in the last 100 years have all happened after 1995. The world is definitely getting warmer.